12 weeks ago, my ophthalmologist looked at my OCT scan and he went completely silent. After a full 30 seconds, he finally looked up at me with an expression I had never seen before. It was a mix of confusion and outright disbelief. "Mr. Patterson, this just doesn't make sense." He pulled up my previous scan from 3 months earlier, then the new one, back and forth, comparing them. "You're drusen. They're dissolving. The fluid under your retina is gone. Your macula is regenerating." He leaned back in his chair, clearly baffled. "In 28 years of practice, I have never seen wet macular degeneration reverse itself without injections. Never. What are you doing differently?" I smiled, trying to keep it casual. "Doctor, I'm eating corn." He blinked, clearly not understanding. "Corn. Sweet corn, 5 times a week, with olive oil. And I eat it at night." The room went quiet again, the silence hanging heavy in the air. That's just not possible. But here's what he didn't know. What 99% of ophthalmologists don't know: your macula. That tiny spot right in the center of your retina, the one responsible for your sharp central vision, has the highest concentration of one specific nutrient in your entire body. Not lutein, not vitamin A, not even omega-3, zeaxanthin. And there's one vegetable, just one, that contains more bioavailable zeaxanthin than any other food on Earth: sweet corn. But here's the part that changes everything. The part that took me 6 months of research to really understand. It's not just about eating corn. 90% of people are eating it wrong. The timing is wrong. The preparation is wrong. The combination is wrong. When you get it right, your macula doesn't just stop deteriorating, it rebuilds itself. Let me take you back to where this all started. 18 months ago, I was 73 years old. I had spent my entire career as a mechanical engineer: detail work, blueprints, precision measurements. That was my life. Then one morning, I was reading the newspaper, just like any other day, and something was off. The center of the page looked wavy, like I was looking through water. I closed my left eye. The waviness was still there. I closed my right eye. Even worse. My wife Helen noticed me squinting, looking concerned. "What's wrong, dear?" "I don't know. The lines look bent." She immediately called our eye doctor. She's always been the proactive one. 3 days later, I was sitting in a retinal specialist's office, staring at images of my own retinas on a screen. It was surreal. "Doctor," Morrison pointed to the scans, his voice serious. "See these yellow deposits? Those are drusen. They're waste products accumulating under your retina. And here," he pointed to dark spots, "this is fluid leaking from blood vessels. You have wet age-related macular degeneration." The words hit me like a freight train. Macular degeneration. "What does that mean?" Helen asked, gripping my hand tightly. "It means the center of your vision will continue to deteriorate. Reading will become difficult. Driving will become unsafe. Recognizing faces will become impossible." He paused, letting the weight of his words sink in. "You won't go completely blind. Your peripheral vision will remain, but your central vision, the part you use for everything that matters, that will be gone." I felt my throat tighten. It was like a punch to the gut. "What are my options, doctor?" "Injections, Lucentis or Eylea. We inject directly into your eye, every 4 to 8 weeks. It can slow the progression, sometimes even stabilize it." He looked at me dead serious. "But we need to start immediately. Every week you wait, you lose more photoreceptor cells, and once they're dead, they don't come back." Helen's hand was shaking in mine. I could feel her fear. How much do these injections cost? With insurance, about $500 per injection. Without insurance, $2,000. I did the quick math in my head. 6 injections a year, minimum. $3,000 a year. For the rest of my life. And that's with insurance. And the injections, did they cure it, doctor? Morrison shook his head sadly. No, they slow it down. Manage it. You'll still lose vision, just more slowly. I felt something break inside me, a sense of despair. 60 years of working, 60 years of saving. Retirement was supposed to be freedom, travel, hobbies, time with grandchildren, not needles in my eyes every month, just to slow down my inevitable blindness. I scheduled the first injection for the following week. What choice did I have? That night I couldn't sleep and my mind was racing. I kept thinking about my father. He had macular degeneration too. By the time he was 78, he couldn't read anymore, couldn't drive, couldn't see my mother's face clearly. The last 5 years of his life, he just sat in his chair, listening to the TV, staring at blurry shapes. I didn't want that. Not for me, not for Helen. So I did what engineers do. I researched. I started reading everything I could find about macular degeneration, medical journals, research papers, clinical studies. I became obsessed, and that's when I discovered something that changed everything. In 2021, Harvard Medical School published a landmark study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition. They followed 35,000 women for over 20 years, a massive study. Women who consumed the highest amounts of zeaxanthin had a 46% lower risk of developing advanced macular degeneration. 46%, that's huge. But here's what really caught my attention. The study specifically noted that dietary zeaxanthin was more effective than supplements. Why? Because zeaxanthin in food is bound to proteins and fats that help it cross the blood-retinal barrier and deposit directly in the macula. Supplements, they mostly get metabolized by your liver before they ever reach your eyes. Waste of money. I kept digging. I was on a mission. A study from Johns Hopkins found that zeaxanthin specifically accumulates in the fovea, the very center of your macula, where your sharpest vision comes from. The National Eye Institute confirmed that zeaxanthin acts as a filter for blue light and neutralizes oxidative stress in photoreceptor cells. It's like sunscreen for your eyes. And here's the key finding. In patients with existing macular degeneration, increasing dietary zeaxanthin led to measurable improvements. In contrast, sensitivity and photostress recovery in just 12 weeks. Wait, improvements? Not just slowing down. Actual improvements. That was a game changer. But there was a catch. There always is. The amount of zeaxanthin needed was high, at least 4 to 6 milligrams per day. Most foods contain trace amounts. Egg yolks have about 0.5 milligram. Leafy greens have 1 to 2 milligrams, but it's mostly lutein, not zeaxanthin. I needed a concentrated source. That's when I found it. A nutrition database from the USDA. The US Department of Agriculture. 1 cup of cooked sweet corn, 3.9 milligrams of zeaxanthin. That's more than kale, more than spinach, more than any other vegetable. 1 medium ear of corn has about 2.5 milligrams. 2 ears, 5 milligrams. Exactly what the study showed was therapeutic. But here's what I didn't understand yet. Why corn? The answer is in the color. Zeaxanthin is a yellow pigment. The deeper the yellow, the higher the concentration. Yellow corn gets its color from zeaxanthin. That golden yellow you see, that's pure concentrated zeaxanthin, and unlike leafy greens, where the zeaxanthin is bound to chlorophyll and harder to absorb, corn zeaxanthin is bound to fatty acids that make it highly bioavailable. There's one more piece to this puzzle. Zeaxanthin is fat-soluble, meaning you need to eat it with fat for absorption. A study from Purdue University found that adding just 1 tablespoon of olive oil to corn increased zeaxanthin absorption by 360%. 360%. Without fat, most of the zeaxanthin passes right through you. With fat, it gets absorbed, transported through your bloodstream, crosses the blood-retinal barrier, and deposits exactly where you need it, in your macula. I looked at all this research, and I made a decision. I cancelled my injection appointment. Helen was scared. "Are you sure about this?" "I need to try. Just give me 3 months. If it doesn't work, I'll do the injections." She nodded. She knew I needed to do this my way. That night, I started my protocol. 1 ear of sweet corn, boiled for 8 minutes. Not steamed, not grilled, boiled. Why boiled? Because boiling breaks down the cell walls and makes the zeaxanthin more extractable. I cut the kernels off the cob and mixed them with 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil and a little sea salt. I ate it 2 hours before bed. Why at night? Because that's when your body does its deepest cellular repair. Growth hormone peaks between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. That's when damaged retinal cells regenerate. If you give your body the raw materials it needs right before this repair window, absorption and utilization are maximized. I did this 5 nights a week. Monday through Friday, weekends off. The first week, nothing changed. My vision was still wavy, still blurry in the center. The second week, same thing. I started to doubt myself. Maybe Dr. Morrison was right. Maybe I was being foolish. But then, week 3, something shifted. I was reading the newspaper one morning and then I realized something. The lines weren't as wavy. I thought maybe I was imagining it. Maybe wishful thinking. But Helen noticed too. "You're not squinting as much." Week 4, I could read the small print on a medicine bottle without my reading glasses. Week 5, I was driving at dusk without the halos around streetlights. That had been getting worse for months. Week 6, I went back to Dr. Morrison for a follow-up. He did the OCT scan. Long silence. "Huh. What?" "Your drusen. They're not growing. In fact, some of the smaller ones look like they're shrinking." He looked at me. "Did you start the injection somewhere else?" "No, I'm not doing injections." "Then what are you doing?" I told him. "The corn, the olive oil, the timing." He frowned. "Mr. Patterson, I can't recommend dietary changes as treatment for wet AMD. The standard of care is anti-VEGF injections. But you see improvement. I see stabilization, which is unusual without treatment. But correlation isn't causation." I left that appointment feeling validated, but not fully convinced myself. Maybe it was a fluke. Maybe my AMD was just slow progressing. So I kept going. Week 7, week 8, week 9. Each week, my vision got a little sharper. I started noticing details I hadn't seen in months. The individual leaves on trees, the texture of fabrics, Helen's face across the dinner table, clear and beautiful. Week 12, Dr. Morrison did another full workup, OCT scan, visual acuity test, contrast sensitivity, photostress recovery. When he pulled up the comparison images, his whole demeanor changed. "This is not possible." On the left screen, my scan from 12 weeks ago. Thick yellow drusen scattered across my macula, dark pockets of fluid. On the right screen, my current scan. Most of the small drusen were gone. The larger ones were noticeably smaller. The fluid was almost completely reabsorbed. Your visual acuity has improved from 20/200 to 20/60. He looked at me. You went from legally blind in your central vision to functional reading vision, without any medical intervention. He shook his head. I need to know exactly what you did. I walked him through it. The research, the zeaxanthin concentration in corn, the fat absorption, the timing, the consistency. He listened quietly. When I finished, he leaned back. There are studies supporting high-dose zeaxanthin for AMD, but they all use supplements. I've never seen anyone reverse wet AMD with food alone. Maybe that's the point, I said. Maybe the food matrix matters. Maybe supplements bypass the natural absorption pathways. He didn't argue. I'm going to monitor you closely, monthly scans for the next 6 months. If this continues, I need to document it. That was 6 months ago. Every month. My scans have shown continued improvement. The large drusen that was still there at week 12, they're half the size now. My visual acuity, 20/40 in my left eye, 20/50 in my right. I can read, I can drive. I can see my grandchildren's faces when they run up to hug me. Dr. Morrison is now recommending dietary zeaxanthin to his other AMD patients, not as a replacement for injections in severe cases, but as an adjunct therapy. And 3 of his patients have reported measurable improvements after 3 months. But here's what I want you to understand. This isn't just about corn. It's about understanding what your body actually needs at the cellular level. Your macula is made up of millions of photoreceptor cells. These cells are under constant oxidative stress from light exposure, blue light, UV light, even indoor lighting, every second. Free radicals are damaging the proteins and lipids in these cells. Your body has a defense system, zeaxanthin. Zeaxanthin sits inside these photoreceptor cells like a shield. It absorbs blue light before it can create free radicals, and it neutralizes the free radicals that do form. But here's the problem. Your body cannot make zeaxanthin. You have to get it from food. And after age 60, your digestive system becomes less efficient at absorbing it. So even if you eat foods with zeaxanthin, you absorb maybe 20% of it, unless you do 3 things. 1, you eat it with fat. Fat-soluble nutrients need fat for absorption. 2, you eat it at night, when your body is in repair mode and actively shuttling nutrients to damaged tissues. 3, you eat it consistently. Your macula doesn't regenerate overnight. It takes weeks of consistent nutrient delivery to see changes. This is why most people end up failing. They try supplements, hoping for a miracle, but supplements are just isolated compounds, and they often don't absorb into your system very well. Or maybe they try to eat healthy foods, but they're inconsistent about it. Or they don't pair those foods with healthy fats, or they eat them at the wrong time, and when they don't see the results they were hoping for, they just give up completely. But Titi, when you get all 3 of those factors right, your macula responds. It's not magic, folks. It's just plain old biochemistry. Now, let me be really clear about something here. I am not anti-doctor. I am not anti-medicine. If I had severely progressed wet AMD with active bleeding in my eye, I would have done those injections immediately. No question, but I was in the early stages. I had time on my side, and I chose to try the natural route first. Everyone's situation is a little different. You need to work closely with your ophthalmologist and make informed decisions based on your specific condition. But here's what I can tell you. Most ophthalmologists don't learn much about nutrition in medical school. They learn pharmacology, and they learn surgery. So when they see macular degeneration, they reach for the tools they know best, which are drugs and procedures. But there's a huge body of research out there showing that nutrition can prevent, slow down, and in some cases even reverse macular degeneration. Think about the age-related eye disease study from the National Eye Institute, or the Blue Mountains Eye Study from Australia, or the Rotterdam study from Europe. All of them point to the same conclusion. A high dietary intake of macular carotenoids, especially zeaxanthin, significantly reduces AMD progression. But hardly anyone talks about it, because there's no real money in telling people to eat corn on the cob. But there are billions of dollars to be made from selling injections. I'm not saying there's a big conspiracy going on. I'm just saying there's a clear bias. A bias toward intervention over prevention, toward popping pills over eating plants. And that bias, it costs people their very vision. So, here's what I did after I saw my own success. I told my brother Tom. He's 72, has early dry AMD and drusen in both eyes. He started following my sweet corn protocol. 8 weeks later, his optometrist told him that his drusen looked stable, maybe even a little smaller. Tom's been doing it for 6 months now, and his vision has actually improved, going from 20/70 to 20/50. I also told my neighbor, Margaret. She's 74 and has wet AMD in her left eye. She was getting injections every 6 weeks. So she started eating corn 5 nights a week. After just 3 months, her retinal specialist said the fluid had decreased enough to space out her injections to every 10 weeks. After 6 months, it was every 12 weeks. She's even considering stopping the injections completely if her next scan shows continued improvement. Now, I'm not saying this is going to work for everyone, and I'm definitely not making any medical claims here. What I am saying is that in my case, and in the cases of the people I know personally, a high dose of dietary zeaxanthin from sweet corn, eaten with olive oil, at night, consistently, has led to measurable improvements in macular health. And the research, it completely supports it. So, why aren't more doctors talking about this? Well, I think it's a combination of factors. Number one, medical training just doesn't emphasize nutrition, plain and simple. Number two, there's a general skepticism about food as medicine. It just sounds too simple, almost too good to be true. Number three, there's a huge financial incentive to use expensive interventions. And number four, liability. If a doctor recommends food instead of medication, and the patient gets worse, they could be sued. It's just easier and safer to follow the accepted standard of care. But the standard of care for AMD, it's not a cure. It's just management. Slowing down the progression, monthly injections, thousands of dollars for the rest of your life. But what if there's another way? What if your body has the incredible ability to repair itself when it's given the right nutrients, at the right time and in the right form? That's what I experienced, and now I'm sharing it with you. Because if you're watching this video, then you, or someone you deeply love, is probably dealing with macular degeneration. And you're probably scared. I know I was. The thought of losing my central vision, of not being able to read or drive, or even see my wife's face clearly, that terrified me. But I'm here to tell you, there's hope. Your macula can heal. Not overnight, and certainly not magically. But with consistent, targeted nutrition, your photoreceptor cells can regenerate, your drusen can shrink, and your vision can improve. I've seen it in myself. I've seen it in others. And the science, it backs it all up. Now, let me give you the exact protocol that I used, the protocol that took my vision from 20/200 to 20/40 in just 6 months. Step 1, buy some fresh or frozen sweet corn. Fresh corn is ideal during corn season. Frozen works great year-round. Just make sure it's yellow corn, not white. The yellow pigment is the zeaxanthin. Step 2, Boil 1 large ear of corn for about 8 minutes, or 1 cup of frozen kernels for about 6 minutes. Boiling is critical. It breaks down the cell walls and makes the zeaxanthin easier to extract. Step 3. Cut the kernels off the cob if you're using fresh corn. Place them in a bowl. Step 4. Add 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil. Not regular olive oil, not vegetable oil. Extra virgin olive oil. The polyphenols in extra virgin olive oil enhance absorption even further. Step 5. Add a pinch of sea salt and a little black pepper if you like. Mix it all together really well. Step 6. Eat this concoction about 2 hours before going to bed. This timing aligns perfectly with your body's natural repair cycle. Step 7. Do this about 5 nights per week. Consistency is everything. Your macula doesn't heal from just one meal. It heals from sustained nutrient delivery over weeks and months. That's it. That's the entire protocol. It's simple, it's affordable, and it's effective. 1 ear of corn probably costs about 50 cents. 1 tablespoon of olive oil may be 20 cents. So the total cost per serving, less than $1. Compare that to $500 per injection. Over 12 weeks, my protocol cost me about $60. Those injections would have cost me $6,000, and I ended up getting better results. Now, some of you might be thinking, what about frozen corn versus fresh corn? Well, I've tested both. Frozen works great. Fresh is slightly better, because it's picked at its peak ripeness, when the zeaxanthin levels are at their absolute highest. But frozen is convenient, and it's available all year round, so just use whatever works best for you. What about canned corn? Avoid it like the plague. The canning process uses high heat, and that degrades the zeaxanthin. Plus, most canned corn has added sugar and salt that you just don't need. What about eating corn on the cob versus cutting the kernels off? Either one works just fine. I cut the kernels off because it's easier to mix with the olive oil, but if you prefer eating it right off the cob, just drizzle the olive oil right over the top. What about other vegetables that are high in zeaxanthin? Orange bell peppers and egg yolks also have zeaxanthin, but not nearly as much as corn. You'd need to eat about 3 bell peppers or 12 eggs to match what you get from just 1 ear of corn. And what about zeaxanthin supplements? Supplements can work, but the dosing can be tricky. Most supplements have somewhere between 2 and 10 milligrams per capsule, but absorption is poor. Maybe 10 to 20%. With food, especially corn on the cob with olive oil, you're getting 60 to 80% absorption. Plus, corn has other beneficial compounds: lutein, vitamin C, fiber, folate. It's a complete nutritional package. Supplements just give you isolated zeaxanthin. Food gives you zeaxanthin plus cofactors that enhance its effectiveness. That's the difference. Now, what if you have diabetes or you're watching your carbs? 1 ear of corn has about 20 grams of carbs. It will raise your blood sugar slightly, but it's also high in fiber, which blunts the glucose spike. If you're diabetic, monitor your blood sugar and adjust your medication if needed. But don't skip this protocol because of carbs. The vision benefits far outweigh the minimal blood sugar impact. What if you're allergic to corn? If you're truly allergic, obviously don't eat corn. But many people who think they're allergic to corn are actually reacting to GMO corn or high fructose corn syrup in processed foods. Try organic, non-GMO fresh corn. Most people tolerate it just fine. If you still react, focus on orange bell peppers and eggs. It will take more volume, but you can still get therapeutic levels of zeaxanthin. Okay, let's talk about what to expect week by week. Week 1 to 2, you probably won't notice any changes. This is normal. Your macula is absorbing zeaxanthin and starting cellular repair, but it's not yet visible. Week 3 to 4, You might notice subtle improvements, lights less wavy, halos around lights smaller, reading slightly easier. Week 5 to 8, more obvious changes. Driving becomes safer. Reading becomes clearer. Colors look more vibrant. Week 9 to 12. This is where you should see measurable improvements. If you're going to schedule an OCT scan and visual acuity test, compared to your baseline, most people see 20 to 40% improvement in visual acuity by week 12, month 4 to 6. Continued improvement. Drusen shrinking, vision sharpening. This is the maintenance phase. Keep doing the protocol 5 nights per week, indefinitely. Here's what else you need to do to maximize results. 1. Reduce screen time. Blue light from phones, tablets, and computers creates oxidative stress in your macula. Limit use. Wear blue light blocking glasses. 2. Quit smoking. Smoking doubles your risk of AMD progression. It constricts blood vessels and reduces oxygen delivery to your retina. 3. Control blood sugar. High blood sugar damages retinal blood vessels. If you're diabetic or pre-diabetic, get your A1C below 7. 4. Get sunlight, morning sunlight, specifically. It helps regulate circadian rhythms and supports natural melatonin production, which is a powerful retinal antioxidant. 5. Sleep 7 to 8 hours per night. Your macula repairs during sleep. Shortchange your sleep, you shortchange your repair. 6. Manage stress. Chronic stress increases cortisol, which promotes inflammation. Inflammation accelerates AMD. Find ways to manage stress: walking, meditation, prayer, gardening, whatever works for you. These lifestyle factors matter. The Corn Protocol is powerful, but it works best when combined with an overall healthy lifestyle. You just learned the protocol that saved my central vision. A protocol backed by Harvard research and proven in my own experience and the experience of people I know. This information could save you from thousands of dollars in injections. It could save you from losing your independence. It could save you from blindness. Think about the value of that. If you were selling this information, what would you charge? $100, $1,000? But I'm not selling anything. This video is free. All I ask is this: if you found value in what you just learned, if this information could change your life or the life of someone you love, consider supporting this channel with a super thanks, that little heart icon below the video. When you click it, you can send a small donation, $5, $10, whatever feels right. Here's why that matters. Information like this gets buried. YouTube's algorithm doesn't promote videos that go against medical industry interests. Pharmaceutical companies spend billions on advertising. They don't want you to know that a $1 ear of corn can do what a $500 injection does. When you support this channel, you're not just supporting me. You're supporting the spread of information that can help millions of people avoid unnecessary medical interventions. You're voting for natural health, for nutrition over pharmaceuticals, for empowerment over dependence. Every super thanks tells YouTube, this is valuable content. Promote it. Show it to more people. And that means more people with macular degeneration will discover this protocol before they lose their vision. So if this video helped you, click that super thanks button. It takes 10 seconds, but it could change someone else's life. Now let me give you one final piece of advice. Start today. Don't wait until your next doctor's appointment. Don't wait until your vision gets worse. Don't wait for permission. Go to the store. Buy corn and olive oil. Start tonight. Because every day you wait, your macular damage progresses. Photoreceptor cells die. Drusen accumulate, fluid leaks. But every day you eat this protocol, your macula heals. Cells regenerate. Drusen dissolve. Vision sharpens. The choice is yours. 6 months from now, you'll wish you had started today, so start today. And 6 months from now, when you're seeing clearly again, when your ophthalmologist is looking at your scans in disbelief, when you're reading and driving and living independently, remember this moment. Remember that you took control of your health. Remember that you chose nutrition over injections. Remember that your body had the power to heal itself all along. You just needed to give it the right tools. Now you have those tools. Use them. Your vision depends on it. Before I go, I need to say this. This content is for educational purposes only. It's based on my personal experience and scientific research. But I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving medical advice. If you have macular degeneration or any eye condition, work with your ophthalmologist. Get regular eye exams. Monitor your condition. Don't stop any medications or treatments without consulting your doctor. This protocol is meant to complement medical care, not replace it. Every person is different. Your results may vary, but I hope my story gives you hope, because if it worked for me, it might work for you too. Drop a comment below and let me know. Are you dealing with macular degeneration? What's your current vision score? Are you going to try this protocol? I make it a point to read every single comment, and I'm going to do my absolute best to respond to as many as humanly possible over the next couple of hours. Let's work together to build a community, a tribe of folks who are actively taking charge of their vision. Naturally, because together, hand in hand, we can prove once and for all that macular degeneration doesn't have to be a one-way ticket, a highway to blindness. It can be reversed. Your macula can heal itself with the right support, and you can bet your bottom dollar I'll be right here cheering you on every single step of the way. You got this.